Today I'm going to share some must-know tips for you to create better designs, work faster and easier, and make better use of the AI tools found in Kittle. And if you haven't signed up yet, you can get a 25% discount using the link in the description below, as Kittle are the sponsor of this video. And my first tip is to simplify things with chat. So once you start your project, all you need to do is head over to the left here, and there's a little speech bubble with a star on it. Click on that and you will enter chat. So it gives you a few ideas of things you can try, but I'm going to come down here and I'm going to ask it a question. I've asked, can you create an image of a dog wearing sunglasses in the park, make it look real? I click send and it will create an image. But on top of that, I can come down here to upload, and I can upload an image into the chat and ask for something different there also. Now, any of the images I create, I can click this little plus button and it will add them to my artboard. So I'm able to add these into my project. I can click on this image, add it to the chat, even click on this image, add it into the chat. Now that both images are in there, I can ask it to combine these images, and I'm able to generate something like this. But you also get these cool little suggestions that pop up also. So I can click add a hat and it will add this information into the chat bar. I send again and it's rendered a new image, a little bit cartoony, but I can always ask to re-render it in a photorealistic style to generate an image just like this one. Now, when you're done, you can keep this here, but otherwise, if you want to start a new chat, simply head up to the little plus button up here, confirm that you want to erase the chat, and you can start again. Next, you want to get to know the AI models. Now, the various different models have different strengths associated with them. So if I head over here to the star icon, I can bring up the Kittl AI Create tab. And if I drop down this menu here, there are a whole diverse range of models that we can now choose from to create our images with. DALL-E 3 was the original that Kittle used, but we also have things like Seedream, Fluxional. All of these Flux models are great for photographs. DALL-E 3 is great for illustrations, and you can actually read what each model is good for, see how many tokens they use, and also see roughly how long it takes to generate those images. For instance, if I go with Ideogram 2.0a, I can add in a prompt. I have an image of a businessman holding up a phone, showing up an upward trending graph, aesthetic, energetic look. I can even enhance my prompt and use that to create my image. But also, you'll notice down here we have recently used styles. But if I click on the styles tab here, we get a very detailed style explorer with photographic styles, vector styles, pattern styles, and down the bottom here, I can even switch between models. So you can see if we switch to something like photo, and I head over here to Polaroid by ChatGPT, I can click on that style to apply it to my image. And of course, I can change the aspect ratio, 16:9. I can generate 1, 2, or up to 4 images at a time. I'll go with 2. So I hit generate, and you'll see it's added both images into my project. So you see how easy it is to incorporate these into your designs, but by switching the styles, like some of the images you see here, using the exact same prompt, we're able to get vastly different looks from image to image, different art styles, different sort of composition. So it's a really, really powerful tool to go through and really get used to understanding how these models and styles work so that you can really create something unique in your designs. Next is to brainstorm with flows. Now, flows is a pretty nifty tool. Let's say I have this logo here, which I've created in Kittle. If I select the artboard, I can either come over here to add smartboard, or I can click this little arrow here. And when I do that, it creates a smartboard, which if I zoom out, is linked to this original board. So if I click on this, I can actually ask it to do something with that image. So maybe I say, can you render this logo as a shiny dark metal color over very light white fabric? And I click generate. And you can see how it's rendered that in a metallic fashion. Now, what's really cool is if I add another smartboard and say something like, pop this logo on a white shirt, same metallic effect, I can change the aspect ratio to something like 2:3 if I want it to be taller. I generate, and it will reference the previous image to generate this one. Now, if I zoom out, what's really cool about this is if I decided that I don't like the K in crown, I can come back over here, change it to a C, and I click on both of these artboards, I can generate again, and it will flow on and regenerate those next two artboards. But what's also really cool is with these two selected, I can duplicate them. I then move them into a position where I can kind of see what's going on, and I continue to brainstorm trying different ideas like a purple metallic effect. And I can then regenerate those two boards to see how that effect turns out. And you can see here you can start to branch out and compare these different ideas. But look what happens when I select all 5 artboards, duplicate them. I then make a change to the original artboard, select the 4 again, generate again, and you can see we've been able to brainstorm some variations. So by actually zooming out, I can set up the exact same template for the 2 different designs. So this is a really powerful tool for brainstorming different concepts across different styles and images. I have a full video covering how to use this, as we're only scratching the surface of it. I will link to it in the description below. The next tip is to work faster with shortcuts. Now, I'm not going to go through absolutely all of these, but ones I use a lot are mostly keyboard shortcuts, but also you can use your mouse wheel to go up or down, which I don't really use much, but if I hold control with that, I can zoom in or out. What's really cool is if I hold down space, I also get this little hand symbol, which means I can drag around. So I can zoom in to certain positions, work on something, hold down space, and move across. But if I really need to go back to like a certain view where I can see everything, I can hold down Shift and 1 to view everything on the board, all the content. But if I zoom in again over here, if I just want to fit to the artboard, I can hold down Shift and 2 and it will zoom just to that artboard. And if I happen to select something like this, I can hold Shift and 3 to zoom in to that selection. What's really handy is I can also use my left and right square bracket keys to move items back and forth in the picture. If I hold down Shift, I can take it right to the back or right to the front. So there's a few really handy things there that can save you a lot of time if you're really busy and you're using this a lot. But if you want to know what all the shortcut keys are, head down to this little question mark down here, head up to shortcuts, and you'll see them all listed here. And this is for PC, so if you're using a Mac, these will have the Mac commands. So you can actually save a ton of time by learning these keyboard shortcuts and making them second nature. But you can also create your own AI image styles with Kittle. So I generated this image using Kittle. And if I come over to the Kittle image generator, you can see the prompt I've used. I can come up to styles and choose anything to mix that up. But what if I wanted something that's not here or something I've created myself? What I can do is go upload style down here, choose an image like this, which I created about 20 years ago, and upload it as a custom style. And you'll notice I have a few other custom styles here I've already created because these stay here after you've used them. But I'm going to click on this one to choose that style. And now when I generate that image, you'll notice that it has actually referenced the general color, look, and feel of the image I provided to create a style for this image. However, if I wanted to take an image I already had on my canvas, I can right click on it, save as image gen style, and we'll also add it into my style section here. So now I click on that, generate with the same prompt. You can see how it's really referenced the gold color and the overall sort of like lighting of the image. What's really cool is if I come back to my Kittl AI creator and go to styles, at any point, I can come down to your styles down here and choose one of the existing styles I've already used. So if I chose this retro vector style, which has got some thick outlines and bright colors, I can hit generate again. And again, you can see how we've been able to heavily influence the style of the image by choosing one of our own custom styles that we've uploaded. That brings me to my next tip, which is to use AI to restyle your existing images. So I've added an image of this woman here onto my canvas. So I click on that. If I go to my Kittl AI and come over to tools, I can choose image restyle. And if I click on that, I can choose low, medium, or high strength, but I'm just going to go with medium for now. And I can come to community styles and find something I think will suit what I want to create. For something different, I'm going to choose this mushroom style, hit generate, and we've been able to create something a little bit more unique by applying a style to our image. But if I come back, I can upload a custom style or even use one of the styles I've created in the last tip. So if I chose this golden skull this time, hit generate, and now we create this gold effect on the woman. So this is something that you can actually set up to create consistent styles for a project, or even just to have a bit of fun with your existing images. Recommend giving that a try to see what results you can get. And by extension, you can apply the same logic into generating sets of images. As you can see here, we can actually set a style and a whole bunch of different objects, generate, and it will create sets of images that match the style you've selected. So don't forget about that as well. It's another powerful way to keep consistency across images. Next tip is to learn how to generate AI text and effects. So I'm in my project and I come over here to the Kittl AI image creator. I'm going to come to styles. And you can see I can choose typography styles here down the left and choose any one of these to work with. I'm going to go with Milky. And I'm going to say, let's play in quotation marks because I wanted to render this text in this style. I hit generate. And because we used ideogram, we managed to get some pretty consistent text from our AI image generator. But maybe I didn't want it to look just like this. What I can do is click on this image. And again, if I come to my Kittle AI and over to tools, once again, I go to image restyle. I'm going to put the style strength at high and I can choose a style from here, but otherwise I'm just going to describe the style I want to see. Of a glowing green slime text on a purple rock background. And because I have this image here, you can see it's actually up the top here. I can also upload an image, but I'm going to come down, hit generate. I'm then able to generate this with a different effect. By using ideogram, creating a nice simple text layer and using the image restyle function, we have a lot more control over the effects we can add to simple text-based images or even logos. Next is a quick little hack to create multicolor vector art with AI. So let's say I want to create a cartoony samurai hanya mask on a white background and I want it to be a vector graphic. I can come down here to styles, click on vector and choose one of the various vector emblems here. I can choose something like vector art, hit generate, and it will create this cool little vector emblem. But the problem is it's only one color. What if I wanted multiple colors in my design? I can actually remove this. I'm going to come back over, but this time I'm going to go to styles, and instead of vector, I'm going to go to clip art, which will actually generate a bitmap. I choose something which best matches the overall look of what I'm trying to create. I'm going to go with t-shirt graphic, and at the very end, I say simple vector art design to really nail down that vector look. So I can create a bitmap which looks like a vector. I hit generate. And you can see we've created this emblem here. It looks like a vector and it has a lot of color. However, we zoom in and it's definitely a fuzzy bitmap. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click on this. First of all, I'm going to remove the background. So now it's just the emblem itself. I now come down to vectorize and I can choose how many colors I want. I'm just going to go with say 10 colors, or we'll crank it up to full, about 16 colors, because we have different shades of red, different shades with the white and the gray and the gold. So we'll just crank it up to full, hit vectorize, and it's created a vector emblem. If I zoom in, you notice that everything is smooth and scalable. And because we removed the background, if I add a background image in, you'll see it sits out nicely against the background. And another tip that you can add a little bit of extra oomph to it, maybe you're creating stickers or something like that, is you can highlight the emblem itself, come down to border, and you can add a white border, make it nice and thick, and get that nice white border effect around your graphics. Next, we want to find and explore existing prompts and styles. Now, there's a few different ways you can check this out. You can check out other people's prompts and styles or your own. But essentially, if I head over here into this Uploads tab, I can go Show All Folders, and you'll see there's an AI Generated tab here. If I click on that, I can view all of my old AI image generations. So this could be a great place to go and get some of your old images, but in regards to finding our prompts, let's find something interesting. So if I wanted to find out what prompt I use for this skull image, for one, I can click and add it to my artboard. But if I hover over the little three dots here, I can come to details and it has the prompt here. I can click copy and even the model used to create that prompt. I can even go straight here to recreate and put all of those settings into the AI. And then I can generate from there. But if I don't want to generate this one, I can also come over here to images. And there are photos here from Pexels, but if we come across to Kittl AI images, we can choose from clip art, images, or even vector graphics. So if I go into images, I search for samurai, I can look through and find something that I either would like to use or this one here. I can click on that and it has a nice prompt. I can copy the prompt. I can see the style. Again, I can also just use the image We're going to hit recreate. And what I can do is even add to that prompt something like red and black dramatic lighting. I'm going to change to 16:9, generate the image, and I was able to generate this cool looking robot samurai based off the prompt I found, and with a few little alterations get that red and black look I'm after. But the next tip is also a bit of an update, and that is that you can edit your text and letters individually. So if I add some text on to the screen here, in the past you could only edit the entire text box at a time, but now we can actually select letters or words individually within the text box and make some alterations. So some good places to start will be to try using different fonts for different words, or even different colors. Even for individual letters, you can get some interesting results when playing with this feature. But a really interesting tip which I found on one of the Kittl tutorials is to find a variable font, because then you can change things like the thickness of individual letters or even the width. So I've done this letter by letter on this particular word here to create a very interesting kind of like almost fading out effect with the font. So this can be fun to experiment with. You can create an almost ransom note type effect, but just simply have a play with it, see what you think. But also don't forget some of the powerful text decorations or even manipulation tools that you can add on top of this to get some really unique looking text in your projects. The next tip is to learn how to use layers and blend modes. So I have these 4 images here, and if I want to say place this lightning over this image, at the moment it's behind it, I can actually go through and move it forwards or backwards, but a quicker way to do it would be to come down to layers down here. Now I open that up, it has artboard 1, I can expand it, and if I hover over or even click on this, you'll see it will highlight this image. So what I can do, use my hand tool to come across, you can see it's behind the image, I can now drag it up above and in front of that image. Now that is essentially how layers works, dragging them up and down. I can turn it off, I can even lock it in position so it doesn't move, and we have a few options there. But what's really interesting is if I shut this down, zoom in a bit, if I take this lightning and just sort of add it somewhere into the scene, clicking on this image, I can actually come over here to layers. I can make it semi-transparent, but what I really want to look at is blending mode. If I click blending mode, I have some options. I can choose hue, saturation, difference. There's lighting and shadows, so it'll actually create like a harsh effect on the image by combining the dark and light values over the top. For this particular image, I can choose screen to add that in by choosing the light part of the image to actually affect the background image, and the whatever is black is transparent, and anywhere in between is sort of between those values. So I'm able to actually kind of add in some lighting into this scene by blending it with screen. It's just like using Adobe Photoshop or something like that. I can also come down to say color dodge and really crank that up. I can even bring the opacity down if it's a bit too strong. It doesn't look quite that good. Screen's probably my best bet for this particular image. But also, another example is if I take this color, and again, I'm going to come into my layers, move that up and above. If I want this to sit on this brick wall here as a pattern, I can go to my blending mode, go to multiply, and instead of lightening the image, it actually darkens the image. Whatever is black is shown, whatever is white is completely transparent, anywhere in between is in between. So this means I can essentially transform even the shape of this image and apply it over this brick wall and create an almost kind of graffiti-like effect by blending those two images. And I highly recommend going through. Normal is just a standard normal blend, but multiply darkens, screen lightens, overlay combines white and black, and what is gray in the middle is transparent. And you get a similar thing here with soft light and hard light, only a harsher effect. And of course, color dodge lightens harshly, color burn burns harshly, and then you have different other effects in here such as light and darken, light and color. Recommend having a play with those just to see what you think. It's a great way to get great effects between your images or even the AI images you generate with real photos or even just with other AI images. And next I'll show you how you can save multiple images in a single click. So I have this project from a previous video where you can see I experimented with a whole bunch of different images. Now, going through and saving all these individually can be a massive pain, but if I simply highlight all of these, I've got every single individual image highlighted, but also if I click on this one image here, I can see that it's about 936 pixels by 936 pixels. If I needed that to be the full resolution, if that wasn't the full resolution, I can increase the size here, or what I can do is select all of these images and come up here to quick export. And if I choose, I can go PNG, JPEG, SVG, or PDF. If I have vectors, I'm gonna go for JPEG. But if I think these need to be larger than they are on the page here, what I can do is double or even triple the size of the JPEGs I download. So I hit export, it'll ask me to save a zip file. I then go ahead, I extract the zip file into a folder, open it up, and you can see we have all of the images exported in a single click. But if I change the view, you can see these various different images have been upscaled. So this one here is 2808 by 2808. If I open it up, it is this rise and grind image here. If I select it in Kittle, you'll notice it's 936 by 936. So we've tripled the size of that image. So that's a nice quick way to save a bunch of images and even size them up to get them and use them in another project outside of Kittle. Now, super quick tip, how to earn free tokens to use with Kittle's AI. Now, there's not much to learn here. Come down the bottom left, you'll see a little gift icon. Click on that, and you can refer a friend. Click get a free month, and you'll be given an invite link that you can send to anyone you think might use Kittle. And if they sign up, you'll basically get a free month on Pro. So just thought I'd add that one in there, as it could be a great way to save a bit of money if you are needing to use Kittle for a project. And with this quick little trick, I'll show you how to create a seamless Instagram carousel. Now, this is something you can design yourself, but I'm actually going to come up top here in templates and search for Instagram carousel. I'm going to scroll down, and I have this carousel right here. I'm going to open up, I'm going to click use template, and I have the template open. Now you can ignore this thumbnail cover, it's just there to show up on the template page. So I'm actually just going to delete that. Now, if I wanted to generate an image, I could easily pop that in, remove the background and do that. But essentially what I want to do is I want to take this second artboard. I want to move it and butt it so it's right up and clicks in next to the artboard next to it. It needs to be exactly the same position vertically and then clicked together horizontally. What I'm going to do is click on this image here. I'm going to duplicate it. And then now that's duplicated, I'm going to go to my layers, and you'll notice that it is selected here because I have it selected there. It is highlighted on the layers panel. But also you'll notice it has here Carousel 1, which is the artboard. We also have Carousel 2 here. So because I've duplicated this image and we have two of them, I can drag this one up into Carousel 2. I make sure it's at the top of Carousel 2. And when I close, you'll notice we have a nice seamless image. And if I drag this away, you'll see it is part of that image. And like I said, if I click it together, you can see it creates a seamless transition. There is a line here so for the UI itself, but if you were to export these and upload them to Instagram, you could use that in your carousel. And of course, you can edit the rest of the information to suit. But even if I take this image and delete it, maybe I generate something with AI, I can take this skull image, remove the background, I'm going to move it onto this here, and I'm just going to position it at the end. If I want that to be seamless, once again, I click on the skull, I duplicate it, go to my layers, move it up in Carousel 2, or whatever name you see here, and I'm able to add that skull with a nice seamless transition in my design. And all I need to do is move some of this text over. Now I've created space from slide 1 to slide 2 in my carousel. And of course I could go through and connect these up and continue to do the same thing if I really wanted to. Even with this one here, I could move it across and use that as a nice nifty little way to create seamless transitions from image to image. The final tip is to drag and drop templates into Kittle. Now, Kittle has some of the best templates that I have seen for design software online. It creates some really, really cool stuff. But if I want to use a template, I have to click on it, use template, and it's only with that one template that I can go in, I make my edits to get it looking the way I want. But what if I then want to try another template? Do I keep opening up all these different tabs? It's actually a lot of work to switch back and forth, and it might not be the best idea. But what I can do is if I decide I want to try something different, I can come up here to templates, do a search, and instead of opening a whole new document by clicking on one of these, what I can do is take this and then drag it into my canvas. And you'll notice I now have both of these here. so I can continue to drag many different templates and it will place them side by side. So this means you can work with various templates, go in, make your edits, and even save them all pretty quickly by exporting up here. So that's a really handy tip for experimenting with a bunch of different styles, a bunch of different templates. I highly recommend checking that out. But otherwise, I hope you found that useful. That is the video for today, guys. Don't forget to check out Kittle. There's a discount code in the description below. But thanks for watching the video. And if you found it useful, please consider giving it a like. Otherwise, hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.